Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. I have a complaint and I'm going to voice it down at the beach. Okay, as a content creator and somebody who does a lot of video work, I have a number of external hard disk drives. Now, I could probably do all the video work that I need to do on the hard drive of my Mac, but it is far simpler and easier and better for me to use an external drive. And of course, when I finish a series of videos and I get them loaded up on YouTube, I have a drive that I put them on in the event I need to refer to them later on or use some portion of them. But a lot of my photographs and other stuff like that, I put off on a very special uh, drive, an external drive, and that's this drive right here. It is the Western Digital My Cloud Home. Now, the reason I chose the My Cloud Home when I chose My Cloud was because it had this really neat feature. First of all, it didn't have to connect to a USB port on my computer. The only thing I had to have was an Ethernet connection for it. So I just stuck it right back into the port on my Wi-Fi, and I had an Ethernet connection, and I had a disk drive that I could put stuff on over Wi-Fi, and then when I went to Florida or when I flew back to Missouri for a court case or something like that, I always had access to that information that was on the MyCloud Home. So it was a very very nice thing to have. And then I saw recently when I was in Best Buy that they continue to sell the MyCloud Home. One of the problems with MyCloud Home, however, is that while they tend to update the software for the Windows side every whip stitch, in the Mac side, they tend to take about somewhere between 3 and 6 months to update their software whenever Mac changes its operating system, which they do about as often as I change my underwear, I think. At any rate, it seems rather odd to me that it takes this long a time to get. So the other day I went to the Western Digital site to try and see if they had an update to the software that would work with the newest version of Mac. And of course, they did not. But here's what they did have. Yes, this notice says that as of today, they pretty much come up with the idea that this is a legacy product. And as a result, it's just too much trouble for them to continue to update the software to make access for it. Now, call me crazy, maybe a little bit suspicious, tending to see a conspiracy theory here, but I think the useful life of these drives is about 4 years, and most of these drives have been out there for about 4 years, and a lot of them are failing, and they're getting a lot of support calls, so I suspect that that is actually what's behind this drive to shut down access to MyCloud Home. Now, I could absolutely be wrong about that, and maybe they're just acting in good faith to get rid of a legacy product. But don't you think they should have mentioned this to Best Buy before they offloaded a whole bunch of these drives over to them to sell? I mean, that would have been a kind thing to do, don't you think? That's a real bummer. It's still being sold at Best Buy, but they are now discontinuing all support not only for the drive, but for the applications that service the drive. So, about the only thing you can do if you have one of these and it still works is the only thing you can do is map it as a disk drive on a Windows system or go through the rather complex process on Mac to have it be accessible through the network as a network drive. And while all of those are certainly workarounds, the major problem, at least for me, is that the MyCloud Home never lived up to its utility. First of all, I don't routinely have things that are 1 or 2 files that I need to access at a time. Usually I store files in cases for my law work, and then when I need to work on something for that case, I will download the entire file or the entire folder and work from the folder. But on their web application, the only thing you could do is download individual files. And that was very, very time consuming, and particularly on a slow Wi-Fi connection, it would be like, yeah, choose that file, download it, go get a cup of coffee, come back, okay. Yeah, it looks like maybe I can get this done before lunch. Oh, well, maybe after lunch. And then it just took forever to get stuff downloaded so that I could work on it. So it never really lived up to the full potential that I saw for it. And now, when I realized, hey, they're not going to support this thing anymore, I have absolutely no use for that drive. I'm afraid there are going to be a lot of people who go to Best Buy to buy a MyCloud home, and they're going to find, hey, guess what? They're not supporting this thing. Best Buy is selling out of date stuff. So, being the kind and conscientious person that I am, I went to my local Best Buy and I told them, look, you guys are selling a product that is going to be out of date as of the 1st of June. I don't think you guys really want to do that. And the guy who was behind the counter said, I just work here. I don't have any input into what products they put on their shelves. And if it's on their shelves, we're going to sell it. So I guess I can understand his point of view too. You know, he's like that little poem about it's not my job to run the train, the whistle I can't blow. But at any rate, he definitely was not particularly helpful in the issue of taking that off their shelves, trying to save somebody else from making a mistake that they are certain to regret. And it's probably going to cost Best Buy a lot more money down the road because people are going to come back and say, hey, I bought this from you and it's not supported any longer. I want my money back. So there are some issues for them in that regard. But as I started to say, one of the problems that I noticed when I started to download stuff off of this onto my hard drive, because I mapped it as a network drive, there are large segments of this disk that are just completely dead. The files show up on the index so that you can find the folders, but when you click on the folder, the drive spins and spins and spins for about 2 minutes and then poof, it just disappears. It goes into hiding. So, fortunately for me, most of those were photo files, and most of them I had on other drives. And the ones that I didn't have on other drives, most of them I had other places. So it isn't a complete loss for me. But what it is a very unsettling and upsetting situation because when I bought this, I think I paid close to $250 for it. It's now down to $169, but it probably ought to be down to about $49 because that's about what it's going to be worth. I've probably had mine for about 4 years. And so, because it runs continuously, the mean time between failures being what it is, it's probably at the point where it was bound to fail anyway. So I am going to pull everything off of it, and then because you can never trust these hard disk drives with your data, I'm going to take a hammer and destroy the thing so that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. I have a lot of case material on there. I have a lot of video material down there. I have a lot of photographs on there. And I just don't want to expose anybody that I've ever taken a picture of to having their internet, having their photos show up on the internet because some rando went through and pulled my hard drive out of my trash. So that's my plan. But the main purpose in making this video is to let you know if you have a MyCloud home, you better get all that stuff off of it. And if you don't have a MyCloud home but we're thinking about buying one, you probably don't want to do that. Well, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that's helpful, that's useful. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff we ask you to do. Thank you so much for watching. If you have the opportunity today, try to do something kind for someone. And with that, I'll leave you for the day. We'll catch you down here at the beach next time. If you like this video, here are a few others you might try, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a terrific day, guys.